Coach, thank you so much for the time. Here's my question for you to start off. Is there like a local eating establishment that's like your place right now that you can go to?
There's a lot. Cold beer and cheeseburgers is one of them
That's the name of
that
it? Cold beer and cheeseburgers?
yeah, yep.
Is it different to go there now? And this is why I asked this. Is it different to go there now as from 6 months ago even?
Well, people are more excited.
Yeah, I mean, like for
It's
you,
something.
like you probably get a lot more like, "Hey, coach," right?
Yeah, you get quite more hellos than you did when you were 3-9. I'll say that much.
Do you walk around with a Sharpie now?
I do not. I do not.
I mean, because if I saw you, I'd be like, "Yo, it's coach. Hey, sign." I don't even have anything to sign. The weirdest is, and this will happen sometimes with me too, and they'll be like, "Hey, will you sign?" And they have nothing. They're like, "My phone," or the worst is their body part. You ever signed a body part, coach?
I have not.
Okay, you're not. You'll be there soon enough. I got good feelings.
I'm not as famous as
No,
you.
no, no.
Like you're
No,
legendary.
not
I'm
true.
not there yet.
You'll be signing body parts like crazy. I got a great feeling about this, coach. Okay, so here's my real question. You got two teams you could possibly play. How do you split up the work on scouting both teams? Do you split it amongst your staff, or do you do them both?
Well, you do them both in terms of like overall breakdown. And then for us, we're really doing our own self scouts. So we're evaluating us and seeing what we need to change in this next week and a half. And then once we get an opponent, we'll really dive into the opponent then. But we're really focused on us here these next 10 days.
Will you find things when you self scout that you're like, man, if somebody would have just noticed this about us, they really would have found a vulnerability?
100%.
Give me
100%.
give me an example. One
You'll
of those.
find things. Yeah, it's pretty. There's some times that you look up and you're like, dang, like we've been giving this away for 2 weeks. This is bad.
You ever get one of those? And there was a story where I forget which quarterback it was, and they knew whenever his feet were not right beside each other, when they were one in front of the other, it was going to be a run play. You don't even give me an example if like specifically, but do you ever see that on film and you're so tipped off? It could be an elbow, it could be and the whole game you're able to cue in on that, and it pays off big time.
Oh, we had a game this year where we knew runner pass every single play
Wow.
of the opponent. And every play we knew it based off of some tendency that we caught watching the tape. And people think self scout is about like your schemes and what play you're calling and all that. To me, self scout is about making sure you're not giving away the tendencies of run pass, of a guard pulling, of those types of things, just as much as it is what play you're calling.
A few years ago, I hired two people that I respected that they don't work with me at all to listen to, because when it's a national show, and I was like, listen to it, and if you were to launch a show against me, how would you beat me? And so they're not part of my organization, but I paid two different people. They did not know that I'd hired someone else, and I was like, give me every vulnerability you can possibly find. So if someone tries to do what I do, I've already got it covered. So when you say self-scouting, I'm assuming it's your guys self-scouting yourself, but will you bring in we'll call it outside counsel to scout you as well?
Not as much, to be honest, because that's just not really what the industry is. We have some people that are in-house that like we have a defensive guy who Coach Gibbs, who's been a defense coordinator in college football, who works on our offensive side of the ball just to do self-scout and stuff like that. So it's almost like an internal audit, but we don't have somebody outside of the program do that. No.
Pretty good idea, though. I just gave a pretty good idea, didn't I? Uh-huh. Yeah.
I may call a few people right now.
Let's go.
I may call some people right. We got 10 days or 9 days. They may as well create a game plan for us and then tell us what that game plan is.
And if it's somebody that hates you, they'll even try harder.
Right.
Yeah. Like find somebody from
Yeah,
Arizona and be like, scout me, tell me how we suck. And then they're going to go extra hard, coach.
That's exactly right. So we may find some people out there.
Growing up and then coaching there is this, it's pretty cool, but it's also, it can be, it make me a bit nervous. I mean, at TCU, we were hanging out with their basketball coach, and he played ball there, and he was an All-American there, and he came back to be the head coach there, and he's like, hey, there's a thing about coaching where you're from, because it's awesome when you're winning, but when you're not, it can be tough, because this is like what you grew up loving, and now they cannot love you back. And again, you're new to the situation here because you're having success, and it's not like you've been there a long time. But is that something that you weighed when taking the job?
Oh, Not really. I just wanted to come home and do it at the place that I was passionate about. But that's spot on. I mean, there's so much more pressure when you want to be somewhere in this industry because, it's like you don't want to fail where you want to be. Like nobody wants to fail, but it's even bigger when like you're failing and the people you're failing are the people that you went to elementary school with and middle school with and college with and high school with, and you grew up with their families. Like, so it's a little bit more, I would say, personal when you do it at home.
Do you get a lot of people from like school that are like, "Hey, coach, we had friends forever," and they really haven't been your friend forever, but you knew them, and now they're like friends again because you're winning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I run into more people that are like, "Hey, great to see you again." I'm like, we went to what, like middle school together? And I think we spoke twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, great to see you. I mean, it's awesome.
For me, that ends up being cousins that I really don't know that I had, and they're like, "Hey, I'm your cousin." I'm from Arkansas, so we're all related somehow. But they're like, "I'm your cousin. Can I get tickets to something?" That's the tough one for me. I bet growing up where
Yeah,
you're playing though, you get that all the time.
yeah. My mom's from Arkansas, so there you
It's my
go.
cousin. I bet she's my cousin. Yeah,
You
no,
guys
It
are
probably
related.
is.
yeah, no doubt. So
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about a few of the guys that you worked under because again, I have relationships with some of them, like Gus Malzahn, and Gus just went to Florida State to be the offensive coordinator there. Like what? Because Gus is a quirky guy. What about Gus? Do you think you have taken or you learned in that situation?
Yeah, I definitely took the leadership council. He had a group of guys that were his leadership council that he would meet with basically weekly and go through basically the state of the program, what the guys are thinking, all that type of stuff. Do we need to practice harder, practice less? This kid's going through problems. He's just not going to tell you. And I really felt like that allowed him to have a grasp of his program, the culture of the program at a really high level. And we've taken that here, and I've taken a lot of those principles and applied them.
What about Coach Lanning?
Coach Lanning, just the genuine intensity. I've known Coach Lanning. Coach Lanning came to my wedding. I've known him since I was a high school coach. And I took some practice structures from him from a defensive perspective. I had only worked for offensive coaches, really. So I stole some of his defensive practice structures and then the intensity of the work and all aspects of it.
When you're an offensive guy and you're OC up at Oregon and you come down to Arizona State, and again, like you said, you've been an offensive guy. Is it a constant? Because I'm sure you're always wanting to develop and grow offensively, but again, you're a little behind defensively because that hasn't been your specialty. Are you learning defense as you go? Do you have your guys in to kind of teach you some of the fundamental things that maybe you didn't know because you haven't experienced it at the level that you have offensively? And is that constant?
Yeah, I would. That's a great question. So I definitely learn the schemes are the schemes. So if you're a good offense coordinator, you should understand defensive schemes and schematics and how things fit and how things work and how they should go together and who should cover what and all that. It's definitely what the latter of what you just said, the fundamentals and the techniques and the nuances of the defense. So in terms of like, oh, I always thought this defensive end always did blank. Now it's a reaction based off what the offensive player does. So I'm learning more of the nuances and the fundamentals from the defense side of the ball. But the schematics, in my opinion, is yin and yang when you're talking offensive and defense. Good coordinators have to know both schematics. So definitely learning the fundamentals at a higher rate.
Now you've had a year with the in-helmet communication. Thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great for the game. It's great for, I mean, coaches to be able to communicate when they feel like they have a tendency on somebody and they can change a call, with 20 seconds left on the play clock. I think it's great.
Coach, how many comp tickets do you get for the playoffs game? Can you invite all your family plus a bunch of friends?
Uh, I don't know, to be honest. My wife, I'll be honest. I do football. My wife does everything else.
Yeah.
Like I would not have lights that turn on at my house without my wife.
Mm.
So I just do football. She does. She texts my family more than I text my family in season. Like she's the one updating people. Like I literally would not be a functional human without her.
Yeah, the story is you hurt yourself in high school. You started coaching in high school. Were you good enough as a high school player, though, to play college ball before the injury?
Heck no.
Okay, you being humble because everybody
Absolutely
says
not.
that, coach. But seriously, you could all honesty on the table. You were not going to play college ball. You did not think you could do it.
I mean, not maybe, maybe I could have. No, I couldn't have. I'd be lying. I'm 5'9". I'm unathletic. I've had like 5 knee surgeries now. I've torn both my patella tendons on my left knee and my right knee, which supposedly never happens. Like, I was not meant to play. I was meant to coach.
You think genetically you just have bad patella tendons, or do you think you just, or do you think you just walk funny? Because I get the same calluses on the same side of my feet because I think I walk a little funny. Which one is it?
I mean, I think it's both. Genetically, I don't have good genes. And then I just think something's wrong with my knees. I still go out there and try to hoop and play basketball. I got a mean Euro step. But every once in a while, my body just says, no soup for you. And it gives up.
All right, we have 3 final questions for you. Before the season started, obviously you guys were picked last. We've heard that a bunch. Did you know maybe we're not going to win the conference? I mean, I'm not saying you knew you'd win the conference, but did you know you would be better than what they thought you would be going into the season?
Yes, I knew that. I knew our guys were wired right, and I knew we had the talent.
What do your players say about you when you're not around? Oof. What do you think?
That's a goofy dude, man. Coach is a goofy guy. Now, he going to keep it real with you. He going to be honest with you, but he's a goofy dude. That's what I think. I don't know, though.
Have you used the same speech at halftime? Or do you even motivate at halftime? Or is halftime mostly for let's fix scheme things, let's correct things?
It changes every halftime, different message. A few weeks ago, I was very animated at halftime. This last week for the title game, I pretty much only said one play at a time, earn it, like very calm. So I really just try to feel the vibe of the room and go off that.
Do you hate when they have to stop you at halftime to answer the one question when it's always the same question?
I actually don't. I don't mind people. And 30 seconds, like, is that really going to affect if we win or lose the football game? No. I know other people act like, oh, this 30 seconds is going to be the difference. Me sprinting into this locker room. It's not at all. So I don't mind it.
All right, final one here regarding the 12-team playoff. Just your general thoughts. I love it. I think it's the best thing that college football, the best part about college football is this, and has been the best in the past 15 years, in my opinion. As a coach, love, hate?
I love it. I love competition. So this is just another way to compete. And, it's great to be in there and in this tournament, in the playoff with some of the blue bloods throughout the country. And I think that's what's the most exciting is you get to see Arizona State's brand, and you get to see it with programs that have been one of the top programs in the country for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And that's exciting.
Well, and also you get a week off, which is great, but it's 4 more weeks for some of these teams if they make it. And we haven't seen that's unprecedented with the amount of games and then the weeks. To your players, is it like take care of yourselves a little more than you ever have? Like, what are you doing physically with these guys?
Yeah, we gave them a full week off this week to get their body and really go home. And this is a remarkable season. So go home, let everybody tell you how good you are. Let everybody pat you on the back and do all that. Like, great job, unbelievable, unbelievable. And then when we get back on Sunday, let's get back to the truth, which is that people think we're the worst team in the history of the playoff. So we better get back to work. Unless we want to prove them right, we better get back to work. So this week, get your body right, get your mental right. And then let's show up Sunday. Let's face the harsh reality that a lot of people think that we still suck, and we got to change that narrative.
No, I think people think SMU suck. I think people think Clemson kind of sucks. I don't think you guys suck. I've watched a bunch of your games. I think people think it's like, oh, we didn't expect them to be here. They might kind of suck. I'm going to keep it real with you, Coach. I think most people, because, you're insulated. Most people think, holy crap, Scatterbo's awesome. Wow, look at the offense. We missed out on a lot of the games because they're your West Coast time zone. That hurts. That hurts for you guys to be seen. But now I think people are starting to go, these guys are actually pretty good, and they're kind of fun to watch. And obviously, you're out of control, which is hilarious. I love it. Like when the crowd came on the field, like I was like, oh, that would be what I would do too if they came on early. But Here's the one final question. What is like your favorite charity or something that you work with? And you'll see why I'm asking this. What is your favorite charity that you work with that you're passionate about?
Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club, just because it's fitting with kind of what I do professionally. It's just helping people kind of get to where they didn't think they could get to in life through sport.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I hate Texas. I mean, I wish that the hole would open up right now and they'd suck in the whole. And I lived in Austin 12 years, love Austin, hate the Longhorns. That's the worst color I've ever seen in my life. So I hope they get sucked in a hole. Clemson, I hate almost as much. Like those are the two. If you beat either one of them, I'm gonna give $1,000 to Boys and Girls Club where you are, just because I'm so happy you beat. Not even because you came on the show, because I hate those teams so much. It's gonna be worth it to me to see you beat them. There you go. That's the deal.
I appreciate it. And by the way, I'm not going to show my team the clip of you saying good things a minute ago. I'm going to keep that out of my presentation.
Yeah. And here's the bad things. Man, you guys are too small, too slow, and nobody believes in you. And that's what everybody's saying. Yes. All right.
Perfect.
Coach, I appreciate the time rooting for you, and have a good next couple weeks.
Thank you. Go Devils.
All right. See you, Coach.